contestant on the show Survivor, but now she's going to tell us how she's surviving in these new normals. So we're looking forward to hearing all about that. How are you today, Anna? How's everything going?
I'm doing well, Tom. Thanks for having me on. As good as you can be in this kind of condition where everyone is quarantined at home, I'm getting very stir crazy. I'm taking advantage by reading as many books as I can, and it's okay. To be honest with you, the term quarantine, who knew that's actually my normal life? Because I'm pretty isolated usually, so it's kind
I
of
hear
not a
that.
big difference. But I'm obviously not working as much as I normally am.
So for those that don't know, where are you teleconferencing in from right now? What city? What state? What area?
Brooklyn, New York.
BKNY, home of Biggie. I'm actually right over a bridge from there, so we're both ground zero ish in the U.S. How is everything different around you right now? Brooklyn's usually vibrant. So do you see the streets being a little less vibrant?
Yeah, I have noticed that. There's not as many people walking the streets, not as much traffic, not as much beep beep, that I hear all day, just like that. So it's a lot quieter nowadays. So it's definitely eerie and weird, but that's kind of what life is. And I've had friends that had to go in for to get some to get some supplies from their office, and they were in the middle of New York City and saying there is absolutely no movement. There's no traffic. It's
So
really
crazy.
weird and odd. It's like I am legend.
It is. It's
It's
so
weird.
crazy. So tell us a little bit of your backstory. Give us the from when you were little. From you have a very interesting overall story. So start at the very beginning and let's bring everybody right through it.
Sure. My backstory: I was born in the Soviet Union. I moved to America with my family when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
I always knew that socialism and communism is evil. It always led to millions of deaths and just destruction and oppression. And so it was never really political ever. I hated politics, and just a little bit of backstory. And then I went to, after college, I was going to go to medical school, and I got the poker bug. Started playing poker.
Okay.
Actually,
How
started
old were
playing
you at that time? Right around there.
17 turning 18. I would say 18.
Okay.
18 I started playing, and it got to the point where I was so obsessed with it. I would say addicted to the game theory of poker, ordering books and all that kind of stuff. I started having to miss class because I made some final tables. And granted, they were small micro final tables, $1,800. So for me, it funded college. So it was something, and I got really into it. And yeah, and then I decided not to go to medical school. I decided to play poker, and I did that, and that was super fun. And learned that I really wasn't so good as I thought. I had to learn a lot, and I did. Thank
So
God I
where
had
did that
some.
take you? Tell us some of that because once you got the poker bug, you seem to take off in an industry of a male-dominated sport. So being an attractive young lady, I feel like you took forefront in some of the bigger tournaments that people saw you in. So tell us about that.
Yeah.
Tell us some of those spots.
So yeah, no, there were a bunch of tournaments that I played in. Most of my tournaments that I won was obviously online. I played a lot of online poker, and so
What site? What
yeah,
was
there
your
was.
go-to site?
Oh, I lived in Jersey at the time, and that's the only one of the only states that was legal, Jersey and Nevada. I was playing on Party Poker, Borgata Poker. I was playing on Poker Stars when it finally got to Jersey. Yeah, so and it was lucrative. I mean, I was funding my life through it. I paid through college and rent and all that kind of stuff, and also obviously winning like 10,000 in a tournament in a day and a half is pretty great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and the thing is that I don't recommend poker for for people to quit their jobs and play, unless maybe if you hit a big score. I would always recommend just to have a normal day job, because a lot of poker players go broke, and a lot of poker players, it's like a business. You have to know how to manage your money. And I've noticed that a lot of people did not know how to manage their money. The ones that have been playing for a long time are obviously really good and really good at managing their money. And take it seriously, study and all of that. So that poker obviously led me to be on Survivor. I was always a big fan of the show, and tried out and got on, and was very lucky to get on. I've known a lot of people try to get on that show. It's pretty hard. I'm very fortunate, and I had a great time on it. And I was the first female poker player, so that was really fun.
That is fun. And then, so all right, so give us a little more because I know we have a lot of poker players watching. The what was your favorite tournament experience? And I feel in a live poker or even on an online setting. And what site did you play on? What was your usual go-to?
So my usual go-to was Borgata.com. My favorite, I loved playing cash. That was really, first of all, cash is really the way to go and the way to be able to have a, career. Obviously, I didn't have that much of a career because as quick as I caught the poker bug and as long as it lasted, I lost it after Survivor. It was the weirdest thing. My desire for poker just literally vanished overnight. It was very strange, but I left it like on the island. I really put it that way because it's really what happened.
Okay.
But I loved playing cash. Live cash and Borgata was my favorite. The reason why I got into poker was because of the psychological aspect of the game. I loved reading people. I studied biology and psychology in college. So it was a game. When I turned 21, the first thing I did is I bought a car. I bought a hoopty for literally $2,000. I don't even know how I got to the casino because it was breaking down. But in that first week I was in Borgata, I made $2,000. It paid for the car.
Oh, wow. And what were you playing? 1-2, 2-5?
Playing 1-2. I was playing
Sick,
one
man.
two. Eventually, I made up to 2-5, but it was, praise God. I mean, it was, I just really started. You really don't know what you're doing until you surround yourself with really good players. And I had a lot of great players around me. My ex-boyfriend, Joe and Alex Rocha and Chris Horder. There's so many fantastic guys that really love the game that took me under their wing and really, really taught me how to play. Obviously, I'm not as good as them, but
Yeah, but
I was able
a lot of it's
to.
game selection, right? So you don't have to be
Yeah,
as good as them. You just don't have to play with them and choose 9 people that aren't quite as good as you, and you're in good shape.
and that's absolutely right. And that's why I love cash game because I would come in and I would sit down and I would just play and I would have fun and I would pick good tables and I would come out with $600, $700 playing 1-2 sometimes, and then I
And
went up to 5.
what
But I
was your
had to
usual
go.
buying? You bought in for 200, 300, and then played. Did you have
I would.
caps, minimums, max?
Yeah. So in Borgata, max was 300. So if I was playing 1-2, I would obviously do max. You want to do max. You always want to do max. In 2-5, I think it was what 2000. It's been a while now. Goodness. I think it's 2000. I would buy in for sometimes around 600, 700, only because I was building a bankroll for a while. You don't want to go all, you don't want to put your whole bankroll on there. And I had a lot of, I had bankroll in online poker. So, live poker was my favorite. Live cash, live tournaments, my
Me too.
favorite. I love the
I
out.
like live poker. I don't really like online poker as much because there's not as much social interaction. So like during this time, it's weird because this is my social interaction now, which isn't so bad, but it's different.
You're doing more than most online poker players do. I mean, a lot of online poker players sit home by themselves and play.
And tap away.
I was surrounded when I was really into it. I was surrounded. I was rooming with a guy friend of mine, and there was like 5 or 6 dudes in the house every single day, all day. And there's actually a funny story with that because the day that I tried out for Survivor, I was on a long line of like a long 6-hour line to get in front of the camera to tell them why I should be on Survivor.
Okay.
Which was while I play a game for a living. I love the social interaction. I'm good with people. I know how to adjust. Very similar attributes in poker and Survivor. There's a beginning game, middle game, end game. When you're talking about a tournament, and essentially Survivor is like a tournament. You have 18 people. One person's going to win the million. You have to constantly adjust and understand where you are in every situation, which is hard to do because you obviously have the limiting factor is you don't know what people are thinking, and same thing in poker, you don't know what people are holding in their hand. Anyway, so I was online for 6 hours. I was so excited to go up and tell them all of this, and I maybe spit out about 2, 3 sentences, and then I froze.
Really?
Tom, I froze.
Oh
I
man.
froze. I'm standing there for a for me, it felt like eternity, for a solid 5 seconds, just staring at the camera. I have all these thoughts in my head.
And that's a long
And
5 seconds in front of a camera.
long. It was probably like 4 or 5, literally. I was like, what's going on? I just kept hearing thoughts like, you're stupid. Why are you saying that? You sound like an idiot. Why didn't all these? I couldn't think anymore. I just had all of these crazy thoughts cross my mind, and I'm thinking, I froze. So I remember even saying, wow, I'm really effing this up, aren't I? And the guy starts laughing. He was like, oh, you're fine, just finish. And so I spit out another sentence and I ran. I
Wow.
ran. Tears in my eyes ran. I remember the people I was online with, like we joke about it now, but the people I was online with for 6 hours, you start talking to everyone around you. Well, not everyone, but we had like a group of 10 people. People were trying out on the show for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10. Someone was like trying out forever since the show began and never got a phone call, never got an email, nothing.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, okay, all right, we're up against that. Okay. And this is all over the country. People are standing in line. So anyway, I get to the camera and I freeze. And so I was so mortified that I lost my chance, that I completely froze.
Right. You
And
felt like you blew it in the moment.
I blew it. Well, I didn't blow it because I obviously got on, but I thought I blew it. And I really did. So so I ran away, and the group of people, they were like, well, Anna, take a picture. And I'm like, oh no, like I'm about to burst out into tears. So I remember they were
Huh.
like, no, you have to. I ran back and I still have that picture. I have such a fake smile and my eyes are bloodshot red. And I don't know if they knew, but I was so mad at myself. I get in the car, I'm hysterically crying. I drive to my friend's place I'm staying at, and I barge in that door, and there's granted 6, 7 guys on their computers playing,
All
you
playing
know, the
poker.
playing poker, the daily tournaments. And I burst in, and God is my witness, and they're my witnesses. I burst in hysterically crying. I'm like, I just wasted 6 hours of my life. This is my favorite show. I can't believe I just blew it. And I'm hysterically crying. And I'll never forget the look on their face because it was like deer in headlights. They're all on their computers looking up like, what do we do? What do we say? There's a girl in here crying. What do we do?
Yeah, because
Some
then
of them are.
that's what I was gonna say. A lot of online players are a little more socially awkward. Even poker players tend to be a little bit of socially distant. But yeah, so they
Yeah.
must have had no idea. Like, oh, sorry, kept it
Well,
moving.
yeah, exactly. And to be honest with you, a lot of them were my friends, and a lot of them are super cool, but they literally didn't even know what to say. They didn't know how to react. I don't think they've ever seen a girl barge in like that. I was hysterical.
Emotional.
For
It was all emotion.
Oh my God. Literally, I was hysterical. I've never been that hysterical. I don't think so. I think that was my one time. And, well, I've been hysterical a few times, but not like crying, just so disappointed. And anyway, fast forward, and they did a good job. They calmed me down, and we laughed about it a while later because a month later I got I got an email from Survivor saying, hey, we can't reach you. You wrote the wrong number. What do you mean I wrote the wrong number? They could reach me, so thank
Wow.
God my email was correct. So got on the phone, went through that whole casting process that took 6, 7 months. It's a long process. They fly you out to LA, then you have live casting. We're not allowed to talk to each other, and there's all these interviews with Jeff Probst, and then you meet the CBS executives of the whole network, and
Oh wow.
just put my phone on vibrate. Sorry.
No worries.
So, all it's a big process. I have to go to my doctor, make sure I'm physically capable, make sure I don't have any rare mutations in my heart where I would die on the show and then the show end. They don't want that to happen. That happened in France, actually.
Wow. Really?
The first season they filmed, this was actually a year before I tried out. I tried out in 2015. Actually, I tried out in 2014. I got on, we filmed 2015, it aired 2016. But around 2013, in France, the first season they filmed, there was this guy who had I think it was called hypocardio something McGram or whatever, but he had a rare mutation in his heart, and it was their first challenge, and the guy dropped dead, and they had
Oh
to
wow.
cancel, and they never tried it again. That blew their show, obviously. So, and
Wow. That's
unfortunately,
crazy. I didn't know that. That was a fact that I had no idea about before.
Yeah, France. So same thing, same thing with us. So I had my own personal doctor do a physical on me. Then I had to have their doctor do a physical on me. Then I had to go to a cardiologist, check my heart, make sure my heart was okay. Then I they took our blood and everything. I mean, it was a whole thing.
It's a big
And
process.
big process, and I didn't know I was on the show for months. I mean, it was a long and also when the people that they flew out to LA, I mean, the year that I tried out, I think it was like, from numbers I've heard, almost 200,000 people that tried out that year.
Oh
And
wow.
on top of that, they have people in their filing cabinets that they've talked to over years, trying to see if they can fit them in. Because essentially, what Survivor is you have a lot of different characters.
Yeah.
Now, I only say that because having been on it, I see the way it's like a show. Even though it's not scripted at all, it is not scripted. It is absolutely real. It's exactly what you see. But to them, they kind of see us as characters. So,
There's
you
like
have
archetypes, right? Where it's like this typical archetype of a character, this typical archetype, and they build it out, and then you have to find the people to fit
exactly.
in the spots.
Exactly. So you'll have like, a jock kind of guy. You'll have, a nerdy guy. You'll have a jock girl, a nerdy girl. It's just like, and not to be mean, but kind of stereotypical, not even stereotypically, but to be able to
A jock
read,
girl, a dirty girl. So who's the dirty girl on your cast?
we didn't have any dirty girls on our
I think
cast.
that means it's you, man. I don't know.
What do you mean by dirty? I thought you meant like dirty as in like, but anyway, no,
No, no. You said like there's a jock girl. There's a dirt. I don't even know if you were the.
did I say, I said nerdy.
Oh, nerdy girl. I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe there's one that's a little crazy, a crazier one. All right.
I'm not crazy. People think I am. People think I'm like, there's so many rumors out there. I mean, there's like, I remember there was a survivor, I'm going to call her a lady.
Survivor lady.
Survivor lady that has a really well-known show, and she used to, well, she does stop now. I mean, she got over me finally. She's like obsessed with me. She would always, in a really bad way, make up so many things. She'd be like, "Oh, Anna Kate, she, hooked up with every Survivor player." I'm like, I never even kissed a Survivor player. I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there's a whole subculture of like people that are so into it. I remember the first episode I watched was your premiere episode.
Oh,
That's
really?
how we really met, was through
That's right. That's how we
yeah,
met. You
Joey
came to my
Ingram.
premiere party.
Yeah.
Joe Ingram.
He gave me a call. He happened to be coming in. I love him, by the way. I think he is incredible in this whole forum and in a lot of forums. He's a really fun guy. So
Yeah.
me and
Shout
him
out
just
to
hit it
Joe.
off. Shout out to Joey Ingram. He really is one of the best online PLO players in the world. So
He's
I
a
do miss
great
him.
guy. He's super fun. I love him. I haven't
Super
spoken to
fun.
him in a while. Super fun. And I knew that Joey was a big fan of the show, just like I was. So I was like, Joey, you got to come out here. You got to come to the show. And we filmed. Yeah,
I
I
got
think that was like my first show I ever did was doing his podcast.
Oh yeah, I got a quick
I was
sidebar.
so
So he called me and he's like, "I'm coming to New York. Do you want to come to the show?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down." He's like, "You'll be my +1 to the Survivor thing, to the premiere." So
Yeah.
I remember my wife now, who's my girlfriend, then was like, "What guy calls you and says you want to be a +1?" She was like, "That's weird." She's like, "I don't know what you're doing." So me and him ended up going, and we were betting on everything, and we bet on who the person was that's going to get kicked off first. And I based my analysis by who won the year before, like that archetype. I'm like, that archetype won last year. I'm choosing this guy as one of my guys that he's going to get kicked off first. Boom, took it because I knew he wasn't going to win it again. And then when you were leaving, you did your premiere party with another girl who I'm like,
Yeah.
I think she wins. I would bet on it. And you guys couldn't say anything, but turned out
Yeah.
I think she was the winner.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
crazy.
she's on it again right now.
I should
And
I should have
she's
I should have bet at least something on like a 20-1 odds with him. I should have done that. That was my bet. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. Back to the story. Back to the
No,
story.
no, it's okay. No, it's great. That's awesome. And what's funny is that I had so many survivors, so many fans, just so many people reach out to me and said, Anna, you are my pick to win the whole season. I bet on you. And this was
Favorite,
the
yeah.
time you can bet, and favorite to win. And I'm like, dang it, man, I wish I could tell them. But they
Right?
were,
You had to hold it in.
I can't. And there were some people I obviously told my family, my friends, give me one.
Oh, we got to mute for 1 second, so I'm just going to take over talking. How is everybody out there while she gets that all together? Let's see, progressive bounty. All right, Tim, hold that back. Hold that back. We're gonna let you know we're playing as soon as possible. What's up,
Stop.
Mario? What's up, Bernie? How are you, Jose? What's up, Arthur? Nice to see you checking in early for the first show. I think Anna is back. Are you back,
I'm
Anna?
back. I'm back.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just some
So,
noise. It's like distracting me.
no, it's all
um,
good.
yeah. Yeah. So what was I saying? So what were we just talking about?
We were on
Oh yeah.
Survivor, and then the trip, and then the whole thing, how it overcame you, and then we were talking about. All right, so post Survivor, I know you had a huge social media fan base that you took down. What made you take that down?
Yeah. I was. To be honest with you, I specifically on Instagram, I had, I had a decent following. It was growing. It was one day I just was going through my Instagram. I noticed I was on it for about an hour.
Hmm.
And you don't realize how much time we waste on social media. I really didn't notice until it just one of those days, and I realized, wow, this is so vain. This is so vain. I care about how many followers I have, how many clicks I'm getting, how many likes I'm getting, and all these people are posting about themselves, and it's all about how they look. And I thought, wow, this is so vain. And I took a few days to think about it, and I decided I'm done with it. I deleted it. And
Crazy. That's against my better judgment, but go ahead.
yeah, I know most people are like, "What are you crazy? You were just on one of America's biggest shows. You're growing. You
You're an
can make money.
influencer. Yeah, I
You're an
know.
influencer. You're a public figure. People care about you. I mean, no one cares." I'm like, listen, I'm not Jennifer Aniston, okay? But
Yeah, but all those people that followed you, that you're their favorite, you could still be inspirational to them. You don't have to cater to the negative, superficial crowd out there. I'm on team trend. Get Anna back on social media. Get her back onto Instagram and
I
everything
should
else.
have called you. I should have called you because you're right, and I regret it, and that's why I open up an Instagram again. I don't spend hours on it anymore. You're right. You could use your voice, and I've been using my voice. A lot of people don't know, and really in the genre of politics and God, because since Survivor, when I got back home, what really changed was I became a born again Christian and I became a conservative. I
Post,
was an atheist. What?
post. So after post Survivor, you come back. All right,
After
what happens first?
I actually became a conservative first.
Conservative first, okay. And
Yeah, I
what
became.
made that switch?
It's interesting. I
P.S.
kind of.
I'm just going to interject here real fast. I'm breaking my cardinal rule that I never speak about politics or religion, but I'll do it with you, just for you for this one interview. But go ahead,
It's so
sorry.
fun. I have that. Influence on people to talk about politics. It's so fun. I love it. I think it's something that a lot of, especially the younger generation, don't pay attention to. But I think that ever since 2016 election, I think that a lot of people are paying attention to politics, which is great because it is so important, regardless. Because listen, first and foremost, I'm a Christian.
What were you before turning born again Christian? Where were you?
I was an atheist. I didn't believe
Eight.
in God.
Wow, altogether atheist. So you had no. How about in your youth? Were you raised anything?
So yeah, to be fully transparent, I was raised Christian and I
Okay.
went to church. I didn't like it. I didn't believe in God. When I was 12, I stopped going to church, and religion is one thing. It's another thing to have a relationship with God. I was in a religious home, in a religious home, but my mom, she let me do my thing. So I was free and I became a liberal, and I'm not a liberal, but I became an atheist. So I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God. I was going to go to medical school. I studied biology. I thought this is absolutely ridiculous that people believe in like a pie in the sky thing. You can't even see. There's no such thing. And I thought anyone, and I hated. I literally hated Christians, and I hated just how pompous they were, how joyful they were. I thought they're so dumb. They believe in air. They believe in nothing. Why don't you believe in evolution? Like, how can you not believe that we came from monkeys? Like, hello. And my whole world my whole paradigm, everything shifted. And it really had to do with some profound spiritual experiences that I've been through, and encounters with Jesus. And I don't care who doesn't believe me. I don't care, because they're, unfortunately, I feel bad for them because they're missing out. And because God is amazing, religion won't get you into heaven. A relationship with God will. It's not about going to church every day. It's not about, following all these rules. It's actually the most freeing thing in the world, because you don't realize how much baggage you have on yourself. You don't realize how dark you are inside with, just living without him. And it's the most amazing thing. It is the most freeing thing. I have never felt so free. I've never been so confident and so happy, because I have a confidence in someone who is unmovable.
So now all
And
of this happened back in when you returned to Brooklyn, or were you still like in between, or yeah, back in
great.
Brooklyn, and
Yeah,
then you
so I'm at so actually I was living in Jersey. So I was playing
okay.
poker in Jersey. I was living with my ex. I was playing poker in Jersey, living with him, played Survivor, went out and filmed Survivor, got back to Jersey, and I lost my passion for poker, like supernaturally. It was just cleansed. Did not want to play. Didn't even want to see anyone playing. I numb, gone. And I lost my passion for Survivor. The weirdest thing, 2015, I mean, it didn't even air yet, and I'm so over Survivor. And it was so weird, because those were my two loves, my two passions, besides, my family and loves and all like that. But for me, in my heart, what I aspired to, what I wanted to do, I was doing it, and I got to do it, and it was awesome and fun. I don't regret a minute of it, because it led me to where I am now.
And then okay, so now the next part, you almost tossed
Yeah.
your hat into the political arena yourself, right? Aren't you
What
looking
was that?
to possibly jumping into the political arena yourself at one point?
It's funny. I don't know. I've had a lot of people reach out and say you should run. I've had a lot of people reach out and say you should move to this to this county, to this state. I was thinking about it a few years ago. I almost did in 2020. For the 2020 election. I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
I That's not the reason why I'm so passionate about it. It might be. God might have other plans. He surprises me every day. I don't know. If he wants me to, I will. I kind of don't really want to, but I'm open to it. Never say never. I mean, Donald Trump said, listen, I don't ever want to do it, and he's president of the United States, so you never know. I'm open
Yeah.
to it, but that's not on my radar.
So
For
now,
that.
right now, so then all right. So now we moved a little further. How did you transition into your current real estate venture?
Sure. So I'm doing real estate right now, and
Was there anything in between that, like in between those two?
yeah, there was.
Okay, go
There
ahead.
was
Sorry,
a,
go to that. I don't want to push you through the story. I want to hear it all.
no, Tom. It's actually better to go chronologically. Brooklyn, New York. You know.
That's all right. It's all right. Some sounds you're gonna get some sounds.
Yeah, but praise God, I love New York. So, no, so in between, so I finished, so I didn't want to play poker. I didn't want to, be on Survivor and all, just pay attention to all that. So I got into politics and studying politics and reading politics, and it's about 6 months just doing a bunch of research, reading a bunch of very, Tom Sowell, just so many philosophers in politics, and really opened my mind and really realized that, wow, the media's lying to me, schools are lying to, everything I've learned, this isn't real history. If you really look at communism, if you really look at the fall of communism in 1991 and the Red Curtain in Russia, that actually, it happened publicly, but it never actually really happened. The Iron Curtain fell. Really, we have a biggest problem in this world is still communism. It went underground. It went into schools. We were infested in our schools teaching Marxism, socialism, and the whole, just everything that's just ruins countries.
And then
I know you don't want to talk about
where?
so.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Where were your parents from originally?
Originally, my father is from Ukraine, Kiev,
Okay.
Ukraine, and my mother is from St. Petersburg, Russia.
Okay.
And they met in college, and I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia as well. I haven't been back since I was 15. I went back a few times, but
Oh
that's
wow.
another
So you,
story.
when did you leave there? I didn't even know you were that old when you left.
No, I left when I was 4 years old, but I
Okay.
came back every few years because my grandmother had a farm out there. So I visit, and that's why I've been a vegetarian since I was 13, because I love animals and cows and pigs, and I grew up with them. So,
Which is crazy
uh,
because I just changed over to a plant-based like whole food diet, which is weird, but it's crazy. Your body feels completely different from that. I
how
agree
much
with you.
more energy do you feel? I mean,
So much more energy.
when
So
you're
it's
processed.
crazy. Crazy. I've
Yeah.
lost 50 pounds when I'm not even trying to lose weight. And then I've like
Yeah.
leveled off right where I'm at, and now yeah, you feel your body just is different. It's crazy,
Yeah.
and I did it before the whole Game Changers Netflix special that everybody was praising, and then I
Oh yeah.
watched it and I was like, oh, it makes sense, but it's weird. It's definitely unique. I was gonna say too. I was just in Norway. Me and my wife were just in Norway. We saw the Northern Lights for the first time. We were able to catch them a bunch of nights. Did you ever see them when you were in St. Petersburg? 'Cause it's another spot you could catch them here and there.
I know. I haven't. I haven't. No. I
Got to
wish I did.
put it on the post-corona bucket
Although,
list.
although what we did see, obviously, there are seasons where it's very light outside.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember seeing northern those beautiful lights, but I remember it being very, very, a lot of daytime.
Sunlight. You saw the midnight. Yeah, right. Midnight sun. That's what it's called.
Something like that. I know the term Russian. I don't know how to say it in English, but yeah.
I think it's midnight sun. I'm pretty sure. But no worries.
Probably.
Yeah. So now they
Yeah.
came over here when you were 4. So do they have a similar outlook as you, or do you guys have polar outlooks? I know a lot of parents and children have totally different outlooks.
Yeah, no. When you come from a communist country, the last thing you want to do is deal with that again. So my family knew socialism. It sounds great. It's horrible. It never works that way. Especially, it's one thing when you have like a few policies here and there, people say it's okay. Well, you're looking at countries, Germany, 30, 40, 50 million people. We have 350 million people. If you're trying to put everyone in universal health care, that's going to cost us 6 trillion in a range of like a few years. Who the hell is going to pay for that? You're going to completely disrupt the economy. The economy is going to crash. You can't pay for your military. So you're open landing site for all of your enemies to just come in and take you out. We cannot sustain it. It is unsustainable. And on top of that, Bernie Sanders talks about increasing taxes to 90%. Who the hell wants that? I don't. Bernie
90%
Sanders, if you
stuff.
want to move to Venezuela, if you want to move to Cuba, by the way, and people always say, oh, okay, I always post, and this is true, that Bernie Sanders is a communist. That's the last thing I'm going to say political.
Go ahead.
Bernie Sanders is a communist, okay? People are like, oh, how do you know that? You don't know, you're so stupid. Really? Bernie Sanders was endorsed by the Communist Party of Cuba. He used to go to Cuba all the time. In fact, he had his honeymoon in Soviet Union before the crash, before the curtain fell. He also praised Fidel Castro. He mourned his death. He has so many communist connections. Again, he's been endorsed by the Communist Party of Cuba. That's a pretty insane endorsement. If you listen to his speeches, what he's really saying, if you talk to people from Venezuela, if you talk to people from Russia, they will tell you right away that that's communist lingo. And that is straight communist lingo. Lenin, most people don't know, Lenin was a democratic socialist. And in fact, he was
Never heard that
actually,
before.
yeah, so many history books don't tell you this, but this is real history. There's newspapers, Russian newspapers about it. I mean, it's very well known if you are educated. And I studied Russian history because that's one of my, it's my native country. And so people argue with me. I'm like, do you read books? Do you study history? Because that's not sure what you're saying. So if you really listen to his speeches, it's straight commie talk. Lenin was a democratic socialist, but really he was a communist. And actually, funny enough, one of the things, my transitional period going from poker to real estate that I do now, which is super fun, was I was undercover. I was working undercover for a nonprofit organization. It was a conservative organization, Project Veritas. And I went undercover for over a year, a little less than a year, into a bunch of different Democratic campaigns, and one of the organizations I went undercover into was DSA, which is the Democratic Socialists of America. And guess what? In those private meetings, what they would say, oh, we're communists and da 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 da. They're open communists. I mean, they are communists. They give a phrase Democratic Socialists because they don't want to scare the country, but they are straight commies. Not everyone is a communist in there, but most of the leaders are communists and they say it. Others are Lenin socialists and whatever. But the point is that, my family that is from Russia, they want nothing to do with socialism. It destroyed our country. Lenin said, in order to have communism, you first need socialism. And why do you think that Soviet agents, communists, always infect and inject themselves into the left? under socialism, because they're open to it. These progressives are open to destroying our constitution, whether they admit it or not. They
He- he-
hate America.
Here's my question, right? So when I was in Norway, I thought Norway was very nice. It was possibly the nicest people, and I travel a lot. So one of the nicest people I've engaged with. They have a form, and I'm not saying I'm not pro or against anything. I don't stand on any platform politically
I've heard this many times, yeah.
or religiously. But when I was there, they do have a very interesting system where there is capitalism in place because the people do own their own forms of production and their own businesses.
Free market.
But-
Norway's super wealthy.
Yeah, Norway is crazy that and they said I think per capita each person's a millionaire because of the amount of wealth for the country.
Yeah.
And their biggest.
how many? What's the population of Norway?
I don't know. It's not that great because except for the cities were overly crowded, which I didn't love. I loved the countryside.
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe someone can do research that's on it. I think it's about maybe 20 to 30 million people. We're talking about America that is 350 million people. Okay.
Oh yeah,
You
it's a
can't
totally
just-
different animal. Totally different animal.
Totally. But yes, Norway relatively is doing well with having a few forms of socialism.
A few of those Nordic countries, I feel like, have a very good. I mean, it's different, and I really don't know. I'm not educated enough to really give my 2 cents on any of it, but.
If you look at places like Israel, okay, Israel, and a lot of people don't know this, but Israel was actually it was one of Stalin's big ideas to have a socialist country in the Middle East, so they can show it and prove it to the Arab nations around them to go into socialism, have communism, so he can take over the Middle East as well. And I'm a big fan of Israel. I'm a Christian, so I honor the God of Israel. And but strategically, from how it was designed, the idea came from Stalin. It was Truman, thank God, in 1945. 1946 was finally within NATO recognized it as an official country, official state, official sovereign nation with their independence, which was fantastic. But Israel, so a lot of their policies are socialist, and I have family in Israel. I go to Israel often. So when you talk about a place like Israel that has a lot of socialist programs, their taxes are 50%. And that's the reason why it's so expensive in Israel. It's one of the reasons why it's so expensive in Israel. First of all, everyone in the whole world wants to visit Israel, and there's such a plethora of history, and on top of religious history, and so it's a wanted. It's a great location, it's a destination for people to visit, but also there's a lot of history, but also it's a very small, tiny country. You can go from one end to the other in like almost 3 hours. It's a super small country. And so the prices are really, really high there. When you go to health, and the reason why the prices are so high, not only do they throw up their prices because of tourism, but also because they have to pay 50% taxes. And in order to buy iPhone, you don't understand how many times my family reached out to me, Anna, hey, can you buy us an iPhone? Can you buy us the latest iPhone? We send them products because it's so expensive there. And on top of that, they pay 50% taxes to the government. It sucks. They're not happy. You can't afford property. There's no one really owning. It's hard to own a property. Forget about a house. I mean, obviously it's a small country, but it's extremely hard to own a property. It's really expensive. Their healthcare system, you wait a while to see a doctor. It's not in America. You can see the doctor the same day. When you have universal healthcare, you'll have to wait longer. Quality of care goes down. And not really an incentive. I mean, there's my cousin's studying to be a doctor, and there's
Over
still
there or
incentives.
over here?
In Israel.
In Israel.
Well, he's actually in school in Latvia right now. But when you go, but that's like the cusp of it, right? But if you go deeper, and then you turn into communism, which is what happened in Russia, essentially no one is being really paid. Everyone is working together. Everyone has their own job, and it's such a perfect utopian world, and it's so fantastic. And people are doctors, and they're going to be doctors, and people that are farmers are going to make food for everyone, and it's going to be a great utopia. That's not what happened. Actually, the people that were in charge of the country, Stalin, Lenin, this is what happened to my family. They would go to different farms and say, hey, we're going to take your crops and your animals, and we're going to distribute them to the whole country. And guess what happened? My family starved to death. The villages starved to death in Ukraine, and it was really, it's a way eugenics. I mean, they starved people. In Ukraine, Stalin took away all the livestock and all the crops. And I know we're going down like a dark hole for a second, but just to
It's
say
okay.
this.
It's okay. Well, I'll get us back to all fun stuff in a minute. But go ahead. Sorry, I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, cool. So just the last thing is Stalin went to Ukraine and took all their animals, all their crops, literally pulled out their crops from the ground, and 10 million Ukrainians starved to death in 1 year. So the point is that if the people you give power to have the power to pick who lives and who dies. And with Stalin and the communists, their biggest enemies were free thinkers, were farmers who didn't care what politics was going on. They had their own farm, they had their own family. They didn't care to deal with politics. They were free thinkers.
That leads all the way up almost on every spectrum, right? So no matter which spectrum it is, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I believe that. And I can't be mad at them. If I had absolute power, I don't know what it would do to me. I can't say I'm uncorruptible. You know, some of the greatest people with the best intentions change over the course of time.
Exactly. And deep inside, and that's why we all need a savior, because all of us are sinful. All of us tend to want to use power. All of us, when no one is perfect. There was only one perfect man that walked in the earth, and his name was Jesus Christ.
I was about to say thank you, but no, go ahead. I'm only kidding. I was only kidding. Go ahead.
No, you tell me. It's definitely not me. And anyway, so the point is, yeah, you want to have limit. So that's why I was first and foremost a libertarian. I turned into conservative. You know, from there, libertarian is less government, less taxes. Leave me alone. That's it. Free
I dig that.
market.
You know what makes me nervous about that? To be totally honest, things make me nervous because in the current state, right? And I am very much like a small government type of person. Like in my head, I don't really even discuss this most of the time. But when you look at it and you look at the people not listening, you're like, listen, you just have to socially distance. Like, no, we're still going to go out to bars. All you got to do is stay in your house and everything's going to be better. No, we still want to go to a playground. So you're like, all right, maybe some people. I don't know what percentage. I was watching somebody do another cast the other day, and they said 4 out of 10 people make the wrong decisions for themselves. I think it might be higher. I think it might be 60 to 80%, somewhere more in there. And there's 2 people out of those 10 that are like, this is the right decision. I should do it. So do people need, and this is totally just a question. I'm just throwing this question out there. Do people need somebody to help lead them in the right direction?
Absolutely. Sheep need a shepherd. And absolutely, you know, so exactly to your point, there are people, listen, we have authority for a reason. And in the Bible, it even says respect authority. And so if the government is telling us to stay home, it's going to be safer for everyone, I'm going to respect it and I'm going to honor that. I disagree with the pastor that had a congregation of people. You should respect authority. As Christians, we're specifically told that. Respect authority, pray for your authority. I was even praying for Obama when he was president. The Lord told me to pray for him, so I pray for him. I don't respect him. I respect him, but I didn't honor what he was pushing, but I prayed for him. Same thing for President Trump. And the pastors should listen to the government when they're saying stay home just to be safe for everyone. But as a Christian, I'm told the only time I do not listen to authority is when they are instructing me to sin, literally to go against God. Heck no. If they told me to bow down on my knees and worship, you know, I don't know, the government and worship, like for example, Allah, I would, no.
Or
that's
money.
Not happening.
Or anything else. You know what's funny?
Exactly. Whatever, kill me. I'm never going to do it.
I feel like a lot of people have changed their perspectives on what life is about. Maybe not changed their perspectives. I think they've gotten more of a perspective on what's important. Because people are like, they care more about family, who's safe, who's not. It's not really about how we're dressed. I've never dressed in sweatpants so much in my entire life. Like, I've never walked around so much in sweatpants. It's crazy to me. You always wear, females are different. You get to wear yoga pants and this and that.
I'm in jeans and sneakers. That's my life. I'm just such a tomboy.
I still like shower and get dressed every day, but I'm like, sweatpants are comfortable. Nobody's going to see me. What am I doing? Really taking out the garbage? I'm not really doing as much. It's so crazy. But I think it took away like all the reasons to buy expensive suits or bags or shoes. Everybody's just like, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic because even though we're making a lot less money, we're also not spending as much money. It's crazy.
That's right. First of all, besides having an emergency and realizing, wait a second, I need emergency stash. I cannot be spending the way that I used to be spending, which is great. People need to realize the average American has $5,000 of debt. The average American.
That's crazy,
Most
right?
Way more than that. Yeah, it's crazy. And like you said, I mean, this is my perspective. You know, being a believer is that wow, there's all of these idols, right? You have celebrity. People idolize celebrities, people idolize Hollywood, people idolize their musicians and shows and politicians or whoever. They idolize, worship them. And it's like, where are they? They're human just like you are. Your idols, your people that you love and the shows and sports is a big idol. Where are they? You know, God.
Everybody's now locked in the house, no matter who they are.
Everyone's locked in the house. And I'm not saying that this came from God at all. This virus is not from God. God does not bring diseases. He'll bring plagues to you know, for example, Egyptians and Jews.
This is plague-ish. It's plague-ish.
It is plague-ish, but
right during Passover, we're all locked in our house. It's interesting.
Oh, 100%. And so a lot of my prophetic friends who you know, prophesied so much that happened in my life. I mean, really hear from the Lord. They said, and this plague is not from God, but God uses even evil for good. And like you said, and unfortunately there's death, but at the same time there's way less people out there. There's way less car accidents, and I'm not saying this is the way it should be, because it's terrible anyway. We're not living a normal life, but I mean, think about how many people are not getting to car accidents, not, you know, all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's
right. Drinking and driving has to be down. Everything has to be down.
Everything's down. People are spending time with their families. All of these idols fell in one day. All these sports, everyone is realizing, wait a second, what is really important? We as a country, we as a nation, we as a world realized, wait a second, life is short. It can fly by and we can be dead tomorrow. There can be a virus that we have no idea how to take care of. I mean, all these drugs, all these drugs, one or two, hydrochlorine or something, whatever it's called. It's hydrochloroquine, I think it is. It is a treatment. It's not a cure. So there's so many things that we cannot control as humans. You know, life can change as it did in one moment. The whole world shut down, and we can't put our trust in the government. We can't put our trust. I mean, even if you look at different states like New York, and Donald Trump has a good point in that, you know, on the one hand, I wish he was quicker to respond. I agree. When he said it's just a flu, I'm like, it's not just a flu. I disagree with you there. It's not just a flu. But thank God he got it together. I think he's done a great job with the task force. And a lot of states, you know, they never spent the money to get, you know, ventilators. We should have, the federal government had about 10,000 stockpiled, and our states have about 33 for a long time. And it's, you know, everyone can play the blame game. I'm not going to blame them, but I think we're going to know for the future to be prepared. No one.
Hopefully, we hope that, we definitely hope that's going to happen. Let's touch on some hard hitting topics now that we've touched on all the light stuff like politics and religion. Have you seen The Tiger King yet?
I have not.
What? How have you not?
I go against the grain, Tom. People
what have you have you binge watched anything since you've been locked in?
One show. To be honest, I've just been trying to read as much as I can. I take the opportunity to. I have one show that I binge watched was The Morning Show. It was really good.
The Morning Show? What's that on? Is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Really good. Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, super good. You know, I don't watch that much. I don't really watch that much stuff. Once in a while, if it gets a lot of hype, I'll watch it. I think I'm gonna watch Tiger King because I do freelance writing for Epoch Times, so I have an opinion section. So I'm thinking about just watching it and writing about it and seeing what the fuss is about. But
it's a very interesting, convoluted story. I said one of my tweets or whatever it was rants randomly where I think the best thing about this whole thing is that Kim Kardashian is being out-trended by Joe Exotic because that's who the Tiger King is. So if you watch it, it's interesting. It's a train wreck, but you can't look away. Yeah, shoot.
So since you watched it, okay, one of the reasons why I'm not watching it is because I love animals, and the last thing I want to see is someone with tigers. I don't think tigers should be in the home. I mean, they should be out in the wild or in zoos, but
you know what's funny?
Is it bad? Because that's what's preventing me from watching it.
There were a couple of things that I could see being making you feel bad with the tigers here or there. Not like, but it's not like tremendous inhumane treatment. The funny part is like with the whole show, it's just like we were talking about with government and everything else. Like power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. I feel like he went into it because he loved these animals and he loved tigers, and I feel like everybody that did it, that they focused on, loved the animals first, and then things change because they now become a tool for you to get other things in your life that you were or weren't looking for. I'm not too sure, but the story doesn't really revolve around the treatment of the tigers. It's weird, and it's crazy. Like some of the tiger stats were interesting too because there's more tigers in captivity than there are in the wild, like exponentially more, which is crazy. But it's interesting. But and I don't know. Like I'm not usually a big watch TV guy because I'm always on the go and I'm always out. But now I'm stuck in, so we're trying to find things to watch.
Either way, I just want to mention this. I mean, for your audience, for your friends that watch this, fans, whatnot, Tom is a go-getter. And I'm sure people know you're such a go-getter. You're always up to something. I'm always like, Tom, what do you do now? I'm doing this event. I'm doing this event. I'm doing this event. I'm like, dang, you work your butt off. I
Stay busy.
I respect people that work hard. And you literally inspire me. I'm like, this guy's always just. He's
I appreciate that. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you being one of my first guests outside of my usual range of people because this is my adaptation into the new normal. I think that's what I'm doing right now. I'm adapting to what the new normal is.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm so excited to be part of it. Thank you for calling me. I'll always support you. Always.
I'm super excited. You're part of the team. You are 100% part of the team with me. Like we're all about doing stuff together. For people that don't know it, we've done a couple of events together and always a good time. Anna is so graceful at the events. We did a bar mitzvah, which was incredible. That we had her and this young lady Gina Marie from Big Brother, which were both super fun. But they're two polar personality types. So Anna's a bit more reserved. Yeah, she's super cool too, but her energy level's intense, and she says things that are kind of crazy. So we were doing like a video, like a game show type of thing.
Yeah, it was a surprise bar mitzvah for the kid who was a big fan of Survivor and Big Brother.
Yeah, he was blown away. I still want to get that picture. Shout out to Adam Weintraub because I do a lot of events with him. That his son was so blown away because he's watching a video of the two of you and all the snippets, and then you guys walked in behind him and both gave him a kiss on the cheek to start it, which was super cute. And then my best from that experience. I don't know if you remember this. So we're playing the game show game, and me and you were co-micing it. Me, you, and Gina Marie all had a mic. And then one of the questions was, how many people have more than 4 piercings on their body? And Gina Marie yells into the mic, a total family event. It's like, I have 13. And I was like, all right, Anna, let's name them. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. I do remember that. I was like,
I know. Once you get past ears, nose, belly button, it's gonna get a little sticky.
It's sticky with a bunch of 14-year-olds in the audience.
And their moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas.
And by the way, you do such a great job emceeing. You are so awesome.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that. I've been having a really good time.
What was that?
Yeah, I've been having a really good time jumping onto like these podcasts. With so far in 2 of the different podcasts we were on, one of my friends who has his for a while. As soon as we got on, I have a proper mic, usually good lighting. I feel like I'm dim right now, but and he's like, oh, we invited the wrong guest. He has a backdrop behind him already and a good microphone. And then somebody else is like, your voice is fun. He's like, would you like to do voiceovers? And I'm like, I have a month and a half to do voiceovers right now, so I'm all about jumping into another forum.
Great voice. You do. You have a great voice.
Thank you. This is fun.
I totally see that.
We'll see.
I'm gonna stop confident right now because, yeah.
I appreciate it. You are incredible as well.
Yeah, and I'm just honest because I see there's just like so many amazing, unique qualities about everyone, and there's so many talented people out there that I'm so glad someone like you has a show because you have so much to talk about, so much to add, and yeah.
I appreciate that. I feel like that's what it's all about. One of the things I like doing more than anything is getting to know people, right? So one of the reasons I'm in the type of business and field that I'm in is because I get to connect with so many different people and see so many different personalities, and everybody can teach me something. I'm a firm believer in that. So like no matter who they are, right? So from A to Z, everybody can teach you something. So I feel like that's why I do what I do. So now while we're doing this, I feel like at least I get to bring your personality and who you are to a few more people, and a few more people of who these people are to a few more people. So some of them are outrageous and fun. Some of them are introspective and learning, but everything I
Yeah.
think brings something to the table for sure.
Amen. And I was going to say, I mean, that's what was so interesting when I went undercover and I went to a lot of Democratic campaigns and I spent a lot of time, almost a year with a bunch of people that hate Trump and just with such vitriol. And it's so interesting because I I had to form relationships with them and
Did you
honestly, I
connect
mean,
with some of them?
I did. I did. There's so many wonderful Democrats. I mean, I still have a lot of friends that are very liberal, and I love them. We'll sometimes we'll talk about politics, but a lot of times there's just like so much more important things that we talk about, like what's going on in our life and all of
Yeah.
that. So, and there's some that I don't talk to about politics, and there's a lot of friends I lost because of how outspoken I am for for Constitution and conservatism and all that. And honestly, that was such a wonderful cleanse because those people are not real friends. Period. End of story. And I didn't realize that then. But anyway, so yeah, I made a lot of friends with Democrats, and there's a lot of people that have really good hearts, and I think that even on Republican side as well, people mean well, and Democrats mean well. I understand the socialist policies. I understand the heart feeling. I get it. I'm happy to pay extra taxes for Medicare and Medicaid to help the poor, the poor afford health care, for the older generation to afford health care. It's so important we take care of them. But I think that they lack an understanding of really how economics works, really the history behind it, so just to educate themselves more. They're such lovely people that I really had a chance to get to know and really change my perspective on how I was vocalizing my beliefs and just some bits. I had to check my heart on some things but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people want the best for the country. I think that there's so much division now,
I think
and
that's the worst of it all, to tell you the truth. I feel like it's not about. I thought this was going to give us the opportunity to really come together and unify against like a common enemy, because this is a very common enemy that doesn't. There's no religious lines. There's no political lines.
yeah,
There's
I
no
don't care
nothing.
what skin color you have. Virus
Yeah,
doesn't care.
it's coming for you. Well, it's not. It is not picking and choosing who it wants. So it can get anybody. So I would think this is the time for us all to unify. And what's funny is, like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really political. I don't sway one way or the other. But I do feel everybody is the same. Depending if you have the ability, because I feel like a lot of people don't have the ability to go and do different things. I have a crazy story. I don't know if I ever told you, but I was locked in a Mexican prison for like 47 and a half hours, right? Like real Mexican prison.
Wait, what?
So
Yeah.
everybody, did I ever tell you the story or no?
No, he did not.
It's crazy. It's a really long story. I'm not going to do this because it's not my interview. But what I
I'll
learned
talk
from it, yeah, definitely. But what I learned from it and I got from it was everybody's pretty much the same. Like, I'm in there. There's no like cots. They don't give you food or water. There's no toilet bowl in like the cell they put you in. It's like 12 guys. It's only bars, cement, and like a hole in the ground with a spigot over it. And you know what? They're the same as us. Like, nobody in there was that bad. I mean, maybe they were. We didn't really go super into depth. But most of them were concerned about their wife and their children and how they're going to get. So when you start to peel away all the division from whatever source from here and from there, it turns into everybody's pretty much the same, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure there is evil in some people, but for
There
the
is.
most part, I think there's a lot more good. I think it's a 99.9 good.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I think that exactly. These are just people. And I remember specifically when I was after the Houston flood. I felt the Lord. Yeah, I went to go volunteer after the Houston flood, and there were certain things that He showed me there. But specifically, volunteering and most. I was in Cleveland, Ohio. It was Cleveland, Texas, and some other parts of Texas that I was volunteering at. And a lot of them, my kitty's over here. Hi, baby. A lot of them, most of the people there that we were feeding were illegal immigrants, and it was people are very vocal about their stance on it, left and right. For me, I have a heart for them. They're normal people, regular people. For me, on the other hand as well, is that you should come in legally, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I'm a legal immigrant. So I think if you love the country, you respect their laws, and you come in the right way. We waited online, I got here, and thank God we did. But these people, they're regular people, and I think that on the right, there could have been a better way to talk about it. for sure, and I was one of them. My eyes were opened when I was down there and I was helping, because a lot of these people, they, first of all, I remember seeing pregnant women. They don't even have power steering or power windows, electric windows. They would have to roll it down. They don't have any food. They don't have any water. They didn't really have any supplies, and it broke my heart. I'm like, wow, these are real people that are trying to take care of their families, trying to take care of themselves. And I get it, America. Everybody wants to come to America. This is a wonderful country. Unfortunately, Marxism is trying to bring it down, because that's what would happen. But I'm gonna stop petting her. Sorry, baby, you gotta wait. She wants to come up to me.
How many cats you have?
I have 3.
3 cats. What are their names?
3 rescues. Ooh, her name is Kira, QQ, and Gray.
Kira, QQ,
So I had
and Gray.
one for a while, but then I rescued 2 other ones, and then nobody wanted them, and so they're mine.
It's all right. Nothing wrong with that. I'm more of a dog guy.
But it is what it is.
So now you have to watch a Tiger King. You're into kitties?
I
Absolutely.
do. I know. Wait, I think she wants to come up and say hi. You want to make an appearance? She's such a pretty girl. Hi, baby girl.
Hey, kitty. How are you?
Okay. Oh, my baby girl. Okay, you gotta wait. I know you want to cuddle.
So is that what you do, and spend a lot of cuddle time in books? So what are the books you've been on lately?
Ooh, I'm reading. So I'm reading. I literally have like 5 books open. It's so funny. My new thing is like I get about halfway in the book, and it's not that I'm not interested. I love it, but then I have a weird habit of ordering books, and I don't get to read them. So I read a little bit, and then I close it, and I read another one. I'm close. So whatever mood I'm in, I'll open. So I'm reading a few different ones right now. I'm reading The Red Thread by Diana West,
Okay.
which is interesting. A lot of the conspiracy about a lot of the coup, like
Freezing up on me a little, banana.
John. Oh, can you see me?
You're back. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so I can't hear enough flying all around. And she did a lot of investigation into the group that was trying to come after Trump and impeach him with the, fake Steele dossier and all that, and all their connections to communists. And it's interesting, very, very interesting. John Brennan is a communist. James Comey admitted he used to be a communist. I mean, there's so many interesting Soviet connections there. Anyway, so I'm reading The Red Thread. I am reading Armed and Dangerous, which is an ex-Satanist who used to worship the devil, used to conjure demons, used to hang out with demons, just like you and I are talking. He would talk to them. They would be right there. He was a really big, well-known satanic priest.
Oh, wow.
Would spells, kill Christians. He would target Christians specifically, hated Christians. And if someone came to him and were like, hey, here's $5,000, can you kill this guy? And he was like, oh, is he a Christian? He's like, yeah, I'll do it for free. And he would do a hex, schmex, whatever, and that person would drop dead in the next 24 hours. This would happen consistently. He broke up churches, all this stuff. And
what was the name of this book?
He had, Armed and Dangerous. His name is John Ramirez. John Ramirez, if you have never heard of him, look him up. He has testimonies all over YouTube. He's been traveling the world because he had an encounter with Jesus, because as a Satanist, he was taught that Satan has all the power. And by the way, Satan is a master manipulator, master deceiver. So the best trick he ever did was convince the humans that he doesn't exist. He very much exists. I know it sounds insane. I thought I was insane until you see people being demon-possessed, getting free of them, seeing people go insane from normal to and just demons coming out and screaming. When you've seen it hundreds of times, you know that the devil's real, and so is God. So anyways, he believed that Satan is greater than Jesus, and that Jesus had little power. I want all this power. So Satan gave him a lot of money, and he was just astral projecting, all this new age stuff. He was hardcore Satanist. Anyway, he had an encounter with Jesus, and changed his life. He realized, wow, Jesus has all the power and Satan's a liar. So, and who wants to go to hell for all eternity? Heaven's so much better. So, and again, it's not a religion, it's a relationship with God. And very profound experiences that I have, that I know he's real. I've had encounters with him. Straight up heavenly encounters. I'll have to go into it next time, and I really don't, and I know people are like, oh, I don't know. I get it. I doubted it also. But the one thing I want to say is this: if you really, because here's what I believe. Most people are not on a truth quest; they're on a happiness quest. And God stands in the way of that. And I was one of those too. I was out there to disprove him, all this hatred I have for him. But I have to say, with all the, just the freedom and all that with the Lord. But I want to say this is that if you really want to know, the truth, if you really care and want to think, listen, is this real? Do I have a soul? Is God real? Is Satan real? All you have to do is ask. That's what I did. That changed my whole life. Because when I got back from Survivor, I lost my passion for poker. I was at my ex's house. I went upstairs. I was so depressed because I lost all my passions. I don't know what to do with my life. I was lost. I was so miserable. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to play anymore and all this stuff. And to end on a happy note, I simply asked God. I said, God, are you real? If you're real, I need you. If you're real, you show me, because I don't know. I don't think you're real, but if you are, show it to me. And there's the whole testimony there. He really showed me he's real. I mean, unbelievable spiritual experiences, dreams, visions. I mean, for the whole thing. And being poured out, liquid love just poured out on me. It was so incredible that I realized that God is real. It was the most amazing thing. So if you really want to know, just ask him. I did. I'm no one special. I deserve hell just like anybody else. Like, I was not, you think you're a good person, and then, really, we've all lied. We've all stolen pens. I mean, we broke all the rules and all the laws that God created for the world, and we're all sinners, and the only perfect person was Jesus. So just ask God if he's real. He'll literally change your whole life. And it's been the best thing I ever did.
Now, book number 3. Go ahead.
What was that?
Book number 3. That was the second book.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No worries. Go ahead.
Sorry, I went down a tangent, but it was important. Hey, Kitty, what? She's a little respiratory issue. I hope it's not Corona. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not. Anyway, she's asthma, but coronavirus, hello. The red thread, armed and dangerous. I'm also obviously reading the Bible. I study the Bible a lot. And there is the Prophet's Manual, Seer, which is a great book also by another prophet. Gramsci's Marxism. I'm always studying Marxism.
So you are all about, it is all politics and religion. That is all you're reading right now. You have no like passion reading, like not passion, but like escape reading?
My escape reading is the Bible. That's really my escape reading. There's so much in there, and every time I read it, there's more and more wisdom in there. Psalms, Proverbs. I mean, just how to live, just the beauty of life. I mean, there's so much there. You unpack every day. For me, I used to read a lot of fiction. All my reading was fiction until I realized I want to read things that are nonfiction. I'm not going to waste my time, and I don't blame anyone for doing it, because I do have some books that are kind of Christian based, like not like fiction,
but more guilty pleasure.
Yeah, like just super cool stories. C.S. Lewis is great too. So there's a lot of novels, but based on good and evil. Really fantastic books. And actually, C.S. Lewis is a great one to read. Really, really great author. Super great novels of good and evil, and all these interlying silver linings of God and Satan. And I'll read those once in a while for sure. I'm also reading The Brave New World, which I've always wanted to read. I read 1984 recently again. And so that's the kind of nonfiction I'll read. Politics, God-based.
Yeah, I see a common theme, common thread for sure.
When I have a passion, when I get into something, I really get into it. So it's my heart. My passion is politics and God, and that's what I'm doing. Real estate a little bit on the side too, but when I come home, it's all God and politics.
There you go. And tell us about what you're doing now, and anything that we could help plug to help you out before we move on to another guest. Only because I have somebody else lining up too, but I definitely want to know if you have anything we could help you promote right now.
No, I mean I have a love to help with that. Really anything. You want to ever reach out to me, go on my website, annakhait.com, send me a message. I read all of them. What do you think about this interview? Do you have any questions? I have so many people that message me about God. So many. So many. And I talk to every single person. There's some people I've gone on the phone with because they were in a really dark place, or someone is really just wants to be, I try not to waste my time on argumentative people because they don't care to find the truth. Like I said, they're on a happiness quest. They want to disprove God because they think it sucks to follow God. It's actually the most amazing thing to follow God. You've never been so free. And he frees you of all your desires. Like it's been amazing. It's hard to do it on your own. It's so much easier with God. So why not? But yeah, a lot of people reaching out. So reach out to me. Just the way you can. I don't need support. I just just need your questions, your love, and that's all. Prayers, pray for me.
You got it. I appreciate you for coming out tonight with me. I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
And then
Tom,
hopefully we will get a chance to do this again, and I'm sure we will work together again really, really soon. Looking forward to it. And definitely stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. And hopefully.
I touch my face a lot, but I'm quarantined at home, so.
I have never realized how much I touch my face till I know I can't. As soon as I walk out of my house, I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to touch my face now. It's amazing. You're so like more conscious.
Exactly, and I so much want to put on gloves again, just gloves to go outside, with like my dental gloves, to just go outside, just to remind myself, don't touch your face, and to be able to just throw it out after. I haven't done that yet, but I think I might go. I might with my surgical mask and.
That's it. You have them at home? Do you have any at home, just in case?
Yeah, I do. I know how to, suture and all that kind of stuff. Emergency situations. I didn't go to medical school, but thank God my sister did, and so know how to do the basics.
I'm sure that came in handy on Survivor too.
Thank God it didn't.
Well, thank God it didn't, but it was good to have that knowledge while you were out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that's another show because there's so many things that happen on that island. Thank God we had a doctor, and thank God we had a psychologist when we got off that show. It's wild to immerse yourself. It's one thing to play poker and then leave, go home, but it's another thing to live in a game. It really takes over. It's the craziest thing leaving Survivor, and I was on it for 2 weeks, from filming the show, being immersed in this game, it being your life, not having your phone, obviously nothing, and then coming into the real world. It was crazy.
It was a wake-up moment.
It was a wake. It took me time. It actually, this is a funny story. I remember right after that, I with my family went to Europe and stuff, in France and all that, and I remember I was walking around in the Louvre, and I remember I was really thirsty, and I'm looking for a bottle of water, and no one had water on us. And we went to one floor, there was no water. We went to another floor, there was no water. And I literally had a freak out moment. I was like, what do you mean you don't have water? Like, I just get water. There's water. Like, where's the water? And my family was like, wow, you never for water. What's going on with you? I had this mental thing. I'm like, I need water. Because on Survivor, you have so little water. You're constantly thinking about.
It was the main commodity. It was better than gold.
It was like Survivor PTSD, and yeah, water is. You realize how important water and food is when you have a quarantine situation, and you go outside. I'm going outside. There's no water gallons anymore. It's all sold out. So
crazy. What's funny to me is the way I eat now, which I'm sure you're the same way if you're a vegetarian. That everything I eat is totally stocked. It's all like the stuff I don't eat is sold out. So like all the meats are all bought out. I'm like, God bless them. I don't eat that anyway. Everything in the vegetable and fresh fruit is perfectly there. Nobody touched it.
Really, I've had a problem with frozen. I love frozen vegetables, frozen corn, frozen peas, like non-GMO ones. I love it. It's really my favorite food, which is weird. I don't like peas as much as I love corn and like veggies and stuff. But yeah, that has been sold out. I have to go back to Whole Foods, but it's been sold out for a while, at least here in New York. But yeah, I'm stocked up on rice. And I rarely eat rice. And I'm like stocked up for like 6 or 7 months on rice. Easy. Just in case. And a lot of water I have just in case. So I've been prepping, you never know, things like this. And thank God I did. And I bought more during this whole thing. So I'm like, when am I ever going to use it? But I'm going to donate it after. So
that's it. Well, maybe get through it. Not bad at all, but we do appreciate you coming out. I do have to try to get the next guest on here too, but thank you so much, Anna. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming out. Thanks so much. Have a great one, everybody. We'll be back in 10 minutes with Eric and Amanda. It's going to be a little bit more lighthearted, I think, and more drinky, but we appreciate Anna and all of everything that we've learned about her today. Thanks so much, Anna. Can't wait to talk to you again. Bye. Such a pleasure. Bye. I'm going to